Did you know that even with the fire and lightning policy, you're not covered against every type of fire? And we're going to talk about the special attributes and characteristics of your fire and lightning policy today. What is up? You are watching Tito Talks Non-Life Insurance Discussions with me, your favorite Tito Miguel, who always loves to make non-life insurance topics easy to understand for both agents and clients. Magandang araw po sa inyo lahat. So happy to have you guys here. And yes, I have changed my location, my shooting spot once again. And yes, I am sitting down on the floor while talking into a camera. As you can see, I have not yet decided on a permanent shooting spot as my walls do not really look nice when it comes for shooting, which is why I am considering trying to change the color of my walls and buying some new replacement wallpaper. So, what color do you think I should use to change my wall so that it'll look better during videos? Why don't you leave me a comment in the comment section? I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm thinking more on black. Kaso, it may not be conducive to learning daw, sabi po ng iba. But let me know what you think. Tito would love to hear from you. Help Tito redecorate his room to make better videos for you guys. And with that being said, if you like this kind of content referring to non-life insurance, please leave me a like on my videos and subscribe to my channel, because if you don't subscribe to my channel, Tito is going to show your mother what's underneath your mattress. And with that being said, let's get on to our content for today. It's really interesting because we're talking about the fire and lightning coverage, which is the most basic coverage you can get in the fire policy. Hence, it's the fire and lightning coverage. Kung merong minimum na CTPL po ang ating motor car policy, meron din po tayong minimum na fire and lightning coverage ng fire policy. And as it is the most basic and it is the bottom level type of coverage that you can get, most people opt for this most of the time in order to save on premiums. But despite that, although it does say fire and lightning, there are a few things that really make it stand out, which you may not have known until you've seen this video. Let's take a look at the first thing we're going to talk about, shall we? What? It can cover water damages? You are absolutely right. Although the benefit says fire and lightning are two pretty self-explanatory terms, yes, water damage is also considered a loss that can be covered by the fire and lightning policy. Does that include rainwater and typhoon water and flooding? No. Not exactly. When I say water damage, this refers to damages caused by fire hydrants and extinguishers used by the fire brigade when it comes to extinguishing house fires. So that means if the fire brigade accidentally or manages to damage your property, but not exactly because of fire, but because of water damages, because of their efforts to save your house, then yes, these can also be covered under the fire policy. And I bet you didn't know this, it's not just water type damages, but if in case, let's say, the fire brigade breaks through certain walls of your house, they had to break down a door, they had to break down a wall, or in extreme circumstance, they had to blow up your house in order to stop the fire from spreading, yes, that's something they can do. And yes, that's something that can be covered. Bet you didn't know that, but that's one of the more interesting things about your fire and lightning coverage. Now let's go to number 2. Now, even if your fire and lightning policy can cover against water damages, that doesn't mean your fire and lightning policy can cover against all type of fires. As it's interesting to find out, you'll discover something known as the proximate cause, which is one of 6 insurance principles that we talk about and is trained to agents who are starting the field. Now, we won't get into too much detail about these 6 principles, but I would like to focus on this one principle known as proximate cause, wherein we try to determine the most immediate and influential cause of a particular type of loss before we can deem it as coverable. Now, what does this mean? Now, let's say you started off with an earthquake. Now, that's a different cover. Tama ba? Now, let's say after the earthquake managed to rupture one of your gas tanks or managed to knock down a certain flammable element, like let's say a candle or a lamp. So after the earthquake, the lamp fell down or the ruptured gas pipe or gas tank leaked out gas and resulted into a fire. Now, even if you have a fire and lightning policy, that fire is not covered. But I've got a fire and lightning policy. Yes, you do. But if you take a look at the proximate cause, it was an earthquake that caused the fire. Do you have earthquake cover? Did you buy earthquake cover? Didn't think so. Which makes it a good idea to purchase earthquake cover as well, which doesn't just provide cover from earthquake shocks, but also provides cover from earthquake fires, which is one of the more interesting things and interesting and complicated things about your fire and lightning coverage. Don't worry, we'll have a separate video on the allied perils, individually targeting earthquake, typhoon, and flood in the following days. Be sure to watch out for that. We're going to make sure to cover everything you're concerned about. Now, getting back to the topic, if you don't have earthquake fire coverage, fires that come from earthquakes or fires that have been caused by earthquakes are not covered. Are those the only types of fires I have to be worried about? Well, no, actually, because you've also got another type of fire that comes from something known as spontaneous combustion. What? Like I said, spontaneous combustion. This is a type of fire that in which the heat source that generates the fire does not come from external sources. Kumbaga, walang nagsindi, walang nagpainit. The internal temperature of this closed system increased to a certain amount, which caused the flammable materials to ignite, and thus causing the fire in the first place. I know, it's a little bit too complicated. Let me give you an example to be more specific. Let's say you've got a big stack of coal in your house. Although that's not a really smart thing to do, let's assume that you do. So you've got a big pile of coal lying around there somewhere in your garage, in your back door, in your backyard, and this pile of coal is already considered a closed system, i.e., no one's interfering with the pile of coal, no one's bringing heat to the entire pile of coal. However, try to imagine the inside of that pile and at the very bottom of the pile as well. The coal in the center and at the bottom of that pile are going through larger amounts of pressure and higher amounts of temperature compared to any other piece of coal located anywhere else on the pile. So that means yung pinakaloob, pinakailalim ng kumpol na yan, mainit po dyan sa loob because it doesn't get ventilated, it doesn't get aerated. So what happens? The temperature slowly rises in that particular system, which then, once the temperature hits a particular point, i.e., the burning point of your coal, sisindihan, liliyab yan. And if one piece of coal starts to gain fire in a large pile of coals, that results in a chain reaction, causing a larger fire, burning out all the other coals in your house. That's an example of spontaneous combustion and an example of a fire that is not covered. Pretty interesting, don't you think? What if I didn't cause the fire at all? What if I didn't cause the fire at all and the fire started at my neighbor's house? I just got hooked up in it. My house just got caught in the fire. Is that going to be covered? Yes, don't you worry. Even if fires didn't originate from your original residence and it came from someplace else and your house just got caught as part of collateral damage, then the fire is still coverable. Of course, this is something beyond your control and you can't really tell your house to evacuate. So it's pretty much stuck there throughout the whole ordeal, especially if you're living in a very compacted area wherein you have a lot of households stuck together, which is actually not ideal for fire safety. Kindly take note of that. So if your fire did not start at your house, even if your fire did not start at your house, you're still covered. Don't worry. I do believe I also owe you a word for the day, and you're gonna like this one. Our word for the day is, and don't say it with me, primary. Yes, it's the term primary. And when we say the term primary, we're talking about the first level of a particular train of thought, or the main level of a particular train of thought. Like say for example in insurance, when you talk about the primary coverages of the personal accident insurance, you're referring to the three core benefits which I discussed in a previous video, which I'm linking to up right here if in case you want to check that out. So that's what we mean when we say primary. It's the first level. It's the basic level. It's the foundational level of something like primary education. So let's put in the schwas. Let's make sure we get our pronunciations right. And I'm gonna mark it up right here. And I'm gonna give you a guide as to how to pronounce it. So say this with your tito one more time. Primary. There's a schwa right near the ending of the last syllable. And let's do that one more time. Primary. It was such a pleasure talking to you guys once again today. Please watch out tomorrow for our next video, which is going to be about the earthquake cover. Because now we're gonna tackle the allied perils and the extended coverages next. So we've got a lot of things in store for you. So I hope you tune in for the next days. Once again, this is your Tito Miguel, who wishes that he has better backgrounds, and he wishes you that you enjoy the rest of your day.